IDC. I covered different areas on the server infrastructure side, starting from the very bottom, the CPU, going up to the software, and up to the operating system layer. So what I'll do today, I'll touch upon 4 key points. And please do feel free to slap me on the wrist at the end if I don't manage to address all of those points. The first one will be providing a definition for integrated systems and integrated platforms. So what are these converged or integrated systems out there? How do they differ from the traditional way of buying infrastructure? This will be the first point. The second point will be, why should your customer, the customers you talk to every day, why should they care about this stuff? Why should they just change the way they buy stuff, change the way they work with you every day? Why should they do that? The third point is providing some background in terms of market sizing, as Alistair was mentioning, but also providing some ideas, some thoughts about the competitive landscape out there. So you guys are working with IBM, with Juniper as well. What is out there? Who are your competitors out there? How can you address these pain points with the competition out there? This is the third point. Then finally, the fourth point will be providing an overview of what's going to happen to this particular part of the market and how you, as partner, as integrators, can address the problems and can kind of move forward and bring the whole idea forward and sell better, really. So these are the 4 key points I will address in the next 45 minutes. As Alistair mentioned, I will leave at the end 10 or 15 minutes for questions, but please, do feel free to interrupt me. We are not a massive audience. Do feel free to interrupt me if you don't understand something, if you don't agree with something. I'm very happy to take questions as we go as well. All right. Now that the agenda is set, let's take a step back. Before deep diving into what integrated systems, converged systems are, let's take a step back and, as the business school textbooks say, let's look at what the customer's problems are right now. As an analyst house, we run a number of surveys in the data center area, specifically to Europe, every quarter and every year, really. In this survey, we asked data center managers what their key problems were. Where are they feeling the pain points? What are the issues they need to address every day? And it's clear that there are 3 areas here. So the first one is clearly a business problem. They have costs that they need to manage, they have budgets that they need to handle, and this is not always improving depending on how the macroeconomic conditions are going. So this is the first one, the light blue one. The second problem they have is aligning with the business. So it's really taking the IT project they have and make sure that they respond to the demand that the business has. And to do that, and this is the other key part, which is often overlooked, they need to address problems with the IT staff. They need to manage their staff better, they need to retain staff, not lose skills, and this is sometimes even a bigger problem than just the technology questions that we all have. And then finally, there are more of a technical type of issues on the disaster recovery, security, compliance, the usual suspects, I would call them. These are the kind of the very general problems that data center managers have. What we tried to do in the last couple of years as an analyst house, we tried to benchmark end user organizations against those very same problems. So it's typically, from a vendor perspective, the vendor community tries to sell solutions, sells products to the end users, but sometimes it's important to understand how these end users are actually stacking up against their own goals. What we did, it was 1.5 years ago, we asked really IT managers, first of all, what their KPI were, so where they've been benchmarked against, so what were their goals, really. And secondly, we asked them how they were faring, according to themselves, against their goals. And it's clear that if you look at from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, from the blue bar, this is the blue bar, the importance they gave to different goals. The key part, and this was, again, time of financial crisis, IT cost controls was the key goal. And then moving down, less important were meant to be IT staff problems, IT staff turnover skills. But really, where the customers we interviewed were actually failing to perform were really in these specific areas. So if you look at the red bar, that's where they were thinking they were not performing up to standards. And this is something that we need to take into account when looking into integrated and converged systems, because a key portion of that message will need to address these problems. So based on that survey, we try and benchmark, really, the end-user organization against their own goals and kind of try and see how they were stacking up against their own initiatives. And it was clear that there is a big majority of the customers that we interviewed, this was a European survey, that are what we might call average performers or slow movers. They are usually pretty good at hitting their budget targets. They don't overrun budget usually, but they're not always very good at addressing SLAs, so at delivering services to their own end users. And it's typical in Europe particularly, probably in continental Europe even more than the UK, that end user organizations tend to be very conservative with the project, with the budget, and this is something that needs to change if the customers want to evolve. And really where we see this happening is in this smaller subset of customers. This 10% of successful organizations that are delivering high SLAs to the business. They are within budget, and they're actually innovating rather than just maintaining. They did stuff that all the other companies didn't do. And those stuffs were mostly around a better way of managing virtualization and a better way of managing storage. These were the two key points we found them be successful at. So this was kind of the background there from a customer perspective. Let's look at this now from a technology perspective, right? We are a technology industry, we love our technology, speeds and feeds and what have you. So this is the worldwide server market split by type of CPU really. So these are the three key platforms that everyone sees in the market. And this is the progression starting from the left-hand side